According to officials and analysts, India's multi-billion-dollar purchases of American weaponry are more about building up its own domestic weapons industry than they are about reducing its reliance on Russian military hardware and leaning towards the West. India is the world's largest arms importer, but regardless of the country it is doing business with, almost all of its major weapons purchases now include provisions for collaborative manufacture or knowledge transfer. Additionally, some military supplies to India have been interrupted by Russia's conflict in Ukraine, bolstering New Delhi's long-term ambition to diversify imports or replace them with domestically produced equipment, according to Indian defense officials. According to data from the Stockholm International Peace Research Institute, India has purchased weapons worth over $60 billion over the past 20 years, of which 65%, or about $39 billion, were purchased from Russia. India plans to purchase more than $100 billion worth of weapons from its domestic arms sector during the following 10 years, according to Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. It is a reality that we have to reduce dependence on Russia, said a senior Indian defense officer working on future capabilities of the Indian military, who declined to be identified. But that is part 2. The part 1 is the effort to get out of the import business. During Prime Minister Narendra Modi's official visit to Washington last month, India announced large purchases of American defense products, including a more than $1 billion order for fighter jet engines from GE.N. Also being explored is a potential $3 billion purchase of MQ-9B Sea Guardian drones. The jet engine agreement involves future collaborative manufacture, while the assembly and maintenance of the Sea Guardians will probably be carried out in India, in keeping with New Delhi's ambition for self-reliance in defense and Modi's hallmark, Make in India, strategy. The American ambassador to India, Eric Garcetti, claimed Washington had previously given lip service, but was now making it easier for India to obtain military technologies. In comparison to some of its closest allies, he claimed that the United States was leaning in with technology and sharing more with India. The actions taken thus far, however, won't be enough to terminate New Delhi's dependency on Russia, and for the time being, future prospects are now constrained by strict American regulations limiting the transfer of military technology. India continues to mostly utilize Russian technology for conventional weapons. The development of new systems that India doesn't currently have should be the focus of US-India cooperation, according to Terrapur. India's principal objective is to close the technology gap with China, its more powerful archrival and close ally of Pakistan, with which it has a difficult relationship. One issue for India is that Moscow's ability to ship weapons and equipment has been badly damaged by Russia's conflict in Ukraine. The Sukhoi Su-30 Mki and MiG-29 jet fighter spare parts delivery from Russia would be delayed, the Indian Air Force recently informed a parliamentary panel. According to the report, a major purchase, possibly the final 2 of the 5 Russian S-400 air defense systems India paid around $5.5 billion for in 2018, has also been postponed. 2 nuclear-powered attack submarines that India had anticipated receiving from Russia over the following few years may also be delayed, according to defense sources. These issues, they claimed, have strengthened India's desire to become less dependent on Russia while still refusing to buy its weaponry from just one country. French fighter jets, Israeli drones, American jet engines, and even German submarines are among the items it is purchasing. These purchases would eventually lower India's reliance on Russian military equipment, but it will take at least 2 decades, according to Indian officials. The days of US and Russian dominance of the global defense market and their ability to dominate defense technology were coming to an end, according to Bill Greenwald, a former top Pentagon official for industrial policy, but what would replace them was still a work in progress. According to him, India can get irritated with the stringent US export control regime for arms and the limitations it sets on knowledge transfer and the creation of new systems using acquired technology. In order to cooperate with the West, he said, India would seek for nations that could transfer technology with the fewest restrictions on its application. Nevertheless, both sides have praised Modi's trip as elevating the relationship to a new plane. Along with the defense treaties, the 2 nations also reached agreements on semiconductors, space, AI, and essential minerals. Along with the United States, Japan, and Australia, India is a part of the Quad alliance, which strengthens its connections to the West but does not take the place of its long-standing partnership with Russia. According to Grossman, despite India's ability to distance itself from Moscow over the coming decades, the US will still have suspicions about how their systems are being used and how that might help the Russians in some sort of way, because of that close India-Russia partnership.